Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Turtle Optimist Podcast. My name is Jenni, and I'll be your host. Today's episode is a testament of the power and passion of perseverance. We're talking about the transformative journey of filmmaking, the kind that pushes you to your limits and rewards you with something truly special. My guest, Allie, has poured her heart and soul into her film project, and she's here to share her incredible story. We'll explore the emotional roller coaster of creation, the challenges faced, and the unwavering belief that brought her vision to fruition. Welcome to the show, Allie. Do you mind to introduce yourself and tell us the name of your film and what it's all about?
Hi. First, I want to say it's a real honor to be here and to be included within this group of really amazing humans. I've really been enjoying listening, watching your podcast. So kudos to you because we have similar paths, you and I. So
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I am a sign language interpreter by trade. But in 2017, I had a dream that changed my life. It was a vivid dream. Some people say lucid dream. I don't know. What I know is that I was asleep and I felt like I was awake and I had goosebumps in my dream. And when my alarm went off and I woke up, it was just kind of like I had been transported from this other world. And what was happening in my dream is that I was in a theater familiar to myself. I was the only person in the audience, and looking on the stage, there were 3 performers that I personally had paid to see each one perform. They're all women. They all live in Portland. I respect each of them a lot. And I've just always kind of seen them as powerhouses. So, but they have very different art forms. So seeing them together, there was just light radiating from behind them out to me. And I woke up thinking, wow, these women are so powerful. They're all in the same place. What could they do? What could they do for young women specifically? Because I have a daughter. So at the time she was 11 or 12. I moved on. I woke up. I got dressed for work. I wasn't sure what the project would look like, if it would be an interview. Would it be something on the radio? Would it be a live discussion with an audience? Would it be an article? What would it be? And it took me a little bit of time to have this vision, to bring it all together to make a film. Yeah. So I could talk for a really long time about the process, but that was 2017. It's just such a cool story. Let's fast forward 5 years, because in that time, I had started the process of figuring out, how does one make a film? I've never made a film before. This is so out of my wheelhouse. I can't even tell you. And there were all these things coming up in life that required my attention. So I had to put it on hold, on the back burner. And 5 years in, I was driving to a job and literally just saying to myself, Allie, you are a single mom. You are a full-time interpreter. Let yourself let go of this project because it's too much, and show yourself some grace and don't criticize yourself. And it was a fun idea, but it just isn't realistic. And I am not kidding. Literally that night, I went to another friend's art gallery showing, wanted to support her. And so I saw her art. And then, because I was hungry for dinner, I left the gallery and walked like half a block because I was looking for dinner. And in the street between these 2 buildings, there were just circles of people looking, waiting for something to happen in the middle. So of course I was curious, and I got on my tiptoes and I looked in, and it was one of the women from the dream.
Wow.
getting ready to perform. So I said, okay, universe, let's do this. Bring it. Let's do it quickly. I just don't have time. I don't have time for a long process. So that's kind of my cool, amazing story. There have been so many coincidences since then, but I just very much have felt like this project is almost outside of myself, which has actually helped me in the process because it's not about me. Okay, but what is it? What is it? It's a 40-minute documentary that I also am a former teacher. I taught deaf middle schoolers, and I really wanted to make a film, a documentary that could be used in the classroom because I really want young people to have access to these three amazing women. I want them to be like the cool tias, aunties, you know. They are in something that's so unique about these women is that they are in male dominated or traditionally male art forms. So there's mariachi guitar, flamenco guitar. She also dances, but guitar, it's usually men, and a DJ and Bhangra dancer, and that's a male Punjabi folk dance. So they each have been performing more than 20 years in their niches, and they're pioneers. They really truly are pioneers. So I wanted to interview them, make a documentary that would kind of harvest all of their collective wisdom and experience and gold and just put it out there for young minds who have interests but feel discouraged or deflated or don't see the options available to them. So that's what I've done. It is actually within probably 2 hours. I am getting the final version of the film from the editor and the sound engineer, and later in the day I'll send it to the first teachers to go put it out in the world. Right. And it's called Trifecta Movie Project. That's my project. I created that title before I had a name for the film. So the actual film is called Dream into Being. And the website is trifectamovieproject.com.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to just talk about everything that goes into it because I've never made a film, and so with you being, I don't want to say an amateur, but a first-time filmmaker, I'm really, I'm excited to just see what that's like for you. So thank you for giving the background. That's really important, I think, for people to realize as they might have a dream or they might have some type of intuition or something, and it's kind of like keeps coming up, and it's like you can't really ignore it. Okay, let's get it out there. So my first question for you is, when you and I spoke before this recording, you had mentioned feeling something strongly in your gut and recognizing opportunities. So can you elaborate on what those initial feelings were and what opportunities you saw?
Ooh, good question. Yes, the older I've gotten, the more I've gotten in touch with, I don't even know what to call it, but it's a place in my stomach, to be honest. It feels like it's a physical sensation. It feels like it goes down the middle of my body and it's in my literal gut. And it just feels like all of a sudden there's expansion. There's more air, and my brain kind of perceives it as, oh, there's opportunity there. There's potential there. It's so easy to get so busy and just tune that out and not even notice that feeling. But years ago, I went through a divorce, and being a single mom for years, I don't know. I had experiences in life that were very challenging and forced me to kind of look at my priorities and just kind of streamline my life in a way that felt good to me. So as I've gotten older, that sensation is easier for me to recognize. So obviously there were the slap in the face, like, oh, here's the person in your dream last night that you've never seen eye to eye. Like you are audience members together. What is going on? Um, so, okay. I'm just going to admit too, and I think this kind of speaks to my process, is that I'm nervous. I don't like being the center of attention, which I know we talked about, being a sign language interpreter. Part of what appeals to me, honestly and truly, part of why I went into that profession is that I love kind of slinking back in the background and supporting these other people that have their journeys. So I'm not used to being in the forefront like this, but clearly this film really pushed me out of my comfort zone. So I have notes. I'm using all my tools. Just wanted to admit it.
Yeah.
So I forget the second half of your question. Did I answer it?
What opportunities did you see? Like when you're feeling this, what I'm going to call intuition, you feel this gut check. And you said you recognized opportunities. What were the opportunities?
Yes. Well, giving myself a little bit of quiet and a little bit of intention, thoughts would bubble up to me, like, what if, or, oh, yeah, I see that connection. So for me, first, it was, there are 3 women in my dream. I just met one of them. What I didn't tell you is that the end of that short conversation, she gave me her agent's business card and said, here, call him. Let's see if your dream could become a reality. So that was, okay, check. One of them's into whatever is happening here. Another of the women, Anjali. So that was Edna Vasquez, I will tell you. She's the mariachi singer, guitar player, musician, artist. She really doesn't like titles. So sorry, Edna, if you're watching this, you're amazing. So Anjali, who is DJ Anjali, she's a friend of mine. Years ago, I saw her performing and was really drawn to her. And she jumped up. She was DJing. She jumped up on the table and started dancing Bhangra. And so she later became a dance teacher, and I was in her dance troupe. So I knew her, and I felt pretty sure that she'd support whatever was happening. So Brenna McDonald was the third person, and I didn't know her. She's the flamenco guitarist, and she co-founded Espacio Flamenco in Portland. It's a dance company, flamenco company. But I realized I know somebody that knows her. So it was just like I'm just curious. Could I get in touch with her? Okay. And then that happened, and we were on the phone, and I asked my friend, okay, tell me about her personality. Is she going to be like Lucy, go with the flow, or does she need structure and a proposed plan? So I had a phone conversation with her, and it went very well. So once I had the 3 of them interested, then it was kind of talking with them. Does anything appeal to you? The opportunities, honestly and truly, it's asking questions. It's just asking questions and being aware of who I'm meeting in my daily life. Oddly enough, an opportunity for me was in January of 2022. I got COVID. I had to stay home for a week. I used that time to set up my first GoFundMe,
Mm.
which was fully funded in 15 days, by the way.
Wow.
Now, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I didn't ask for enough money then. But I mean, that was an opportunity. I have time. I'm sitting here. What can I do to get closer to this goal? Another opportunity was just being curious about what about on Facebook? Could I meet other women in film? Could I ask questions of women that have come before me and just see if I can learn? I mean, every step in this process, I've really tried to live in the moment and be very curious in the moment, ask the questions and be open, just listen to the answers. Because truly, if I had known what I know now about what it takes to make a film, I would have run the other way, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so like, yeah, the end result will come, but the joy is in just each step, the next, and I'll stop talking soon, but the opportunities also were recognizing the stages of filmmaking. So there's pre-production. How do I get the equipment? What does the space look like? Who needs to be there? Is it a camera person? Yeah, it's definitely a camera person. Do I need a separate sound person? Do I need a makeup artist? Well, what does that look like? So pre-production, all the planning, then the actual filming, then the editing and the filming of what's called B-roll, which it's when the talking head is talking and you see something other than their mouth moving. So I learned how to get footage. I did a lot of the B-roll myself. Yeah, just so many stages. And now the point that I'm at, it's okay, the release event and then the distribution. I made a website and now working with teachers they're creating lesson plans so I can put it on the website so it's available to other teachers. And so it's multifaceted, this process.
And it seems like you've held so many roles. I think, when I watch a movie, right? I think about, there's a producer and there's a director, and you have all of these separate people. But it seems like from your experience, you wore a lot of different hats. You wore a lot of different roles, which is different compared to something that has big money and Hollywood behind it and all of that.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I've not paid myself one dime for any of this. The fundraising, being stretched out of my comfort zone. Oh, so uncomfortable with fundraising, but it's a necessary skill. I don't want to say evil.
Oh, right. I understand.
It's a skill. So in order to save money, I kind of just learned what I could learn, do what I could do, and then recognize when I need to outsource.
That's
Pay for that.
Well, and that's a good skill to learn anyways, when you need to delegate versus when you take it all on yourself. That's an important piece too. So that's great. So the film's completion will really provide role models for young people. What kind of impact do you hope the film will have on them, and what messages are you most excited to share?
Yes. Like I said, I really want these three artists to be the cool aunties that can share where they've come from. My biggest hope is I guess there are two. I really hope that, and not just young people, I mean, really anybody, I think, who's going to watch this film is going to walk away with some new tool or idea or just be impacted in a positive way. But young people, I really wish for them to find their inner voices those little parts of themselves that that know the healthy direction. It's hard. I mean, I'm just going back to my own experience being a teenager, an early college student, just caring so much about what others think and having that attention outward and comparing myself. But the magic is knowing how to sink into yourself and find the spark. What's the thing you want to feed that you know is going to take you in a positive direction? There are also sparks, like for me, sugar. That gives me a spark, but that doesn't take me down a positive path. So learning to differentiate that. So for them to find that spark, and then for them to learn how to be intentional, kind of in recognizing it, to bring that vibrancy to themselves, because it's a long game. I know there's a lot of, fast, oh gosh, what's the word?
Instant gratification.
Thank you. Instant gratification, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the juice in life, the more meaningful, the nutrients of your life come in a longer game.
Right. Yeah.
So what are the messages? Gosh, there are so many. There's so many cool messages in this film. But I wrote a few things down. Not taking other people's responses personally. I mean, of course, there's accountability. If we find in our life that multiple people are telling us the same thing, okay, look inward, do your work. But if you've just met this person and they're giving you this look or saying this thing, okay, for example, Brenna, a story that she tells is that she's from Eugene, and she ended up going to Spain to further her practice of flamenco guitar. And she was one of the very few women in these classes. So here she is in a room filled with men. The instructor, the maestro, is a man, and he would ignore her. He would come up and give feedback to the person next to her, skip her, go to the next person. And at the time, she just assumed, she owned it. She said, "Oh, I'm no good at guitar. My Spanish is horrible." She used that as a reflection of herself. But the cool thing is that first phone conversation I told you about that I had with her, the next time I talked to her, she said, "I didn't realize until our conversation that wasn't about me." He was uncomfortable. He didn't know what to do. So that's one thing that I hope people walk away with. And then also just the concept of tenacity, just perseverance. It's okay to take breaks so you can gather yourself and keep going. Look for your resources available to you. Ask questions. Gosh. But the film is structured in a way where these lessons are accessible, because I've kind of divided it up into chapters and there's a theme that comes on screen. Yeah.
Good. That's yeah. I'm looking forward to watching it. So whenever it's released, I want to see it so I can learn those lessons too, because whether you're a young person or an older person, I think that people are always searching to grow. Most people, and we want to be better than we were yesterday and better than ourselves, a year ago. And so I'm really looking forward to watching the film myself. This is gonna be great. Yeah.
Well, the release is June 5th in Portland. I haven't officially made an event yet, but it's been picked up by the Portland Art Museum.
Wow.
So there's a one-night premiere, And then after that, the film will live online because I just want it to get out to as many people, as many teachers and people as possible. So look for it in mid to late June, but I'll put you on the distribution list. So I let you know.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah.
And then I can update this podcast so that way it'll reflect in that. So as people watch this over time, they'll be able to find that information. So that'll be
Cool.
great. Yes.
Thank you.
So 3 years is a large time investment. So what kept you motivated and committed to the project from February 2022 and beyond, especially when things got difficult?
Yeah. Well, something that worked for me was to try to narrow down, I narrowed down and kept my eye on the goal. And the mission was to give young people something positive to think about, learn from, work towards, whatever. So when things got hard and I felt overwhelmed, I would just think of that value, that goal. And it helped me realize a couple things. Well, because this project didn't have much money, I've been surrounded. I want to say also this film is a representation of a huge community of people. It is not just me. Oh my gosh, the editor, who's just like my film sister, it's been the two of us for the past 3 years. She has brought so much magic to this film, and it would not be possible without her. Anyway, I could go down a whole path with that, but I realized, okay, this is a person that's extremely talented and we're working on it together, and I'm not able to pay her near what she's worth. So let's just relax the pace. Let's just let this film happen in life's time, because I'm still going to reach my end goal. Mm-hmm. It's still going to get out to young people. Yeah. So that helped me find some breathing room. So thinking about the young people really motivated me. And then after I captured the footage and the film was really starting to take shape, the featured artists, oh my gosh, just thinking how much they put into their own crafts. And I felt the responsibility of representing them in a way that was worthy of them and their talent. So that's when it started to get real. And I started to get a little more nervous, but again, just breathing. And it's for the young people, the 3 artists, they're in support of getting their stories out to young people. Okay. And then, so I ended up a first GoFundMe. Then I won a grant, a local grant. And then I'm still in the second GoFundMe. It's such a process. It will be fully funded one day. Anyway, every dollar that people have donated, I think there's something like 88 donors at this point. Every single dollar is a vote of confidence. So I basically got out of myself and just looked at the bigger picture, and it just really kept me going.
Yeah. So you mentioned about being willing to be uncomfortable. So can you share a specific instance where stepping outside of your comfort zone proved beneficial to the film's creation? I mean, it might be the fundraising, the GoFundMe. Are there any other ways where you stepped out of your comfort zone and it helped kind of move the film along?
Yes, you nailed it. The fundraising. I would absolutely, the biggest way that I stepped out of my comfort zone is that the editor, okay, so the filming happened in multiple stages. At first, we interviewed and filmed each one individually. And then we did a group interview on the stage from my dream. I literally have a picture, a photo of me sitting in the audience with them on stage with the light pouring. It was the most surreal experience of my life. So anyway, we did that stage of filming, and then there were follow-up interviews after that. But as the editor was trying to pull together the storyline, she said, Allie, I really think you need to be part of this story because you're the through line. Mm-hmm. And your process is the exact same. I personified all of the messages and lessons that they talked about. Mm-hmm. And I was so wickedly uncomfortable with this idea. I didn't want it. But again, I looked outside of myself. What are my goals? And then I just thought, okay, this is an opportunity of growth for me. And as a result, I've been given so many personal gifts. I've gone through so much personal growth just in my willingness to be there for others. I'm still uncomfortable with it, but I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah, I think too that, I mean, I believe that once the film gets out there, I really think that you're going to see more things manifest for yourself. I think that whether it's more filming, more talking on different podcasts, getting that message out there, whether it's being in the school systems, whatever that is, I feel like you're going to have more light shined on you just because of you following through. And that's really an important part, because I think that a lot of us have like dreams or, for example, like this podcast. I thought about this podcast for a while and I'm like, there's no way I can do this, but taking one step at a time, then it's highlighting other people's stories. And so I think that, as you're thinking about other people and you're doing this really to shine the light on other people, I think more will come to you. And that's really a message for everybody watching, because there's so much creativity, so many stories to get out there that people are holding back. And I feel like listening to you, I'm like keep going. And, everybody needs to keep going because there's so much information to share. There's just so many dreams, so much creativity and positivity to get out there. That's exciting.
Here. I completely agree. Yeah. Can I interject a little story really quickly? Because the lesson plan that the teachers, shout out to Andy and Dawn. There are 2 Portland Public School teachers that are seasoned and passionate and talented, and they will soon be teaching this lesson that just touches me so deeply. They plan on introducing the film as an ode, like a poem. They're going to talk about poetry and what it is to honor another person, and they compare the film to it being a visual ode. So then they'll introduce it that way. Then they have this chart and these Venn diagrams where each of the students, as they're watching the film, they'll be given one of the 4 of us, because I'm one of the characters in the film, and they'll kind of analyze our journey, our path, how we pursued our art forms. And then after they watch it and they share with each other, then they're going to talk about art and how art doesn't have to mean a painting on a wall. It can be anything that you love, that you're good at, that you put time into. It can be teaching. It can be cooking. It can be playing basketball, anything. So then the students are asked to look inward. And first they're going to brainstorm what are some options of art, and then just have a giant list of all the options they can think of, and then look within. what's your art? What's your curiosity? And then that same chart that they've used to kind of analyze our paths, they're going to do on themselves. And then it can branch into a research project for different careers and potential paths. It just gives me goosebumps to think about.
Well, and it's beautiful because I think about like young people, at least if I think about myself, I might want to do something, but the adults in the room might be like, that's not for you, or you can't get a job doing that, or you can't earn enough money or support your life with that. And so sometimes those sparks are diminished based on other people's feedback, especially educators or parents, family members, friends, and like you were saying at the beginning, that a lot of times younger people look for external validation, if you will. And so I think that this is going to be great coming from the teachers, and they'll be able to kind of use what they're learning in the lesson and then make it applicable to their lives. And then hopefully that will translate into the families understanding what the kids really want to go towards. And it can really open up a whole world to them.
I sure hope so. That's why I've done all the work I've done.
Yeah, that's great. So the last question I have is, the film touches on several important themes like self-awareness, finding your community, being authentic. So which of these resonates most strongly with you personally, and why?
That is a great question. And I feel like I've touched on this already. The one that really, so many of them, they all stand out to me, but there's one concept of finding your path. And I guess this is just former teacher in me. This is lovely closure because it kind of brings back things I've already talked about. But finding time for myself to be quiet enough where I can hear those little voices, those little sparks, and then giving that spark a little bit of attention, intentional thought, and then that adds air to fuel the flame. And being willing to then ask questions. And I want to add, it's really important when I've asked questions to totally be prepared for the answer no. And I extend respect to that person. For whatever reason, no is your boundary. I get it. Respect. Move on. Ask the next person. I've had some experiences in this filmmaking process that have been extremely humbling, and I can say that I've learned from them. So just asking the questions, and then look at the answers that come, and and asking myself, what questions come now from this bit of information, and just treating it almost like a puzzle. And for me, that's what finding my path has meant. And if I'm, sometimes I'm like beating my head against a wall. And then I think, okay, well, is this the direction of the path? It's a fine balance to have enough perseverance to keep going, but then to also recognize, wait a minute, this isn't realistic, or this isn't working, and then adjust. So I would say finding my path.
Well, thank you so much for coming, stopping by today. I really just hope Allie's journey has ignited a spark within everybody watching. Remember that filmmaking, like any creative endeavor, is a testament to the power of passion and perseverance. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. If you have a story to tell, a vision to share, take that first step. Start with writing, start filming, start creating. And remember, every masterpiece begins with a single courageous act. Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep creating.